Hi scientists, today we are going to be talking about the lungs, and I want to show you where the lungs are on our body. Let me see. So here we have our brain in our skull, and here we have our mouth and our esophagus, and here are our lungs. So we're going to talk about that. They are underneath our rib cage. Okay, so let's look and read my lungs. If you want to have your book with you, you can, or you could just follow along as I read and read the book later. My lungs. Here's a picture. It says carbon dioxide. I wonder what that is for. My lungs are part of a system that keeps me alive. My lungs help my body get the oxygen it needs. Remember, we talked about how the blood carries the oxygen, but how do we get the oxygen? Let's find out. Oxygen comes from the air I breathe. Look at this word breathe. It has a sneaky E on the end, so the EA is going to say E in leaf. Breathe, not breath, breathe. My lungs pull oxygen from the air with each breath. Each breath comes into my nose or mouth first. My nose and throat warm up and clean the air. Tiny hairs in my nose and throat do the cleaning. Did you know that's why you have hair in your nose? So it cleans out the air. It's kind of like a filter. Maybe in your house you have a filter for your air conditioning and heat. And it gets dirty sometimes, so they have to change it. It traps the germs, and it traps the pollen or dog hair. That's like what the hairs in your nose do, and you have little hairs in your throat, and it cleans out the air. So you breathe it in. It's warming it a little bit as it goes down, and the air moves down my throat into my two lungs. So here it is. It comes in, it goes down, and then into your two lungs. You have two lungs. It moves through tubes in my lungs that branch like trees. So it kind of looks like that in your lungs. The tubes end in tiny sacs that look like bunches of grapes. The tiny sacs are like balloons. My lungs trade oxygen for carbon dioxide through the tiny balloons. So here's the little balloon. When you breathe in, those balloons get a little bit bigger, and then they trade it. So it takes the oxygen and it lets out carbon dioxide, because we don't need carbon dioxide. It takes in the oxygen and lets out the carbon dioxide. This is what's so cool how God made our earth. Listen to this. Carbon dioxide is waste air. My body doesn't need carbon dioxide. My body sends carbon dioxide to my lungs in my blood. Guess what needs carbon dioxide? Plants. Plants need carbon dioxide. So every time you breathe out, you are helping a plant. Guess what a plant does? A plant, through its pores that it has, it takes in carbon dioxide and lets out oxygen. Kaylee's being silly right now. I just think that's so cool. My blood drops off the carbon dioxide in the tiny balloons. So here's the blood. Remember, the blood carries oxygen and carbon dioxide. So the blood picks up the oxygen from the balloons and takes it through your body And then it drops off. When it picks up the oxygen, it drops off the carbon dioxide, and then the carbon dioxide goes out through our mouth. Okay, let's read what it says. Then my blood picks up the oxygen and moves it through my body. This trade happens with each breath. Trading it in your lungs, remember, and then that goes through the blood. As I breathe in, my chest moves out. My body makes room for my lungs to fill with oxygen. As I breathe out, my chest moves back in. The carbon dioxide moves out of my lungs. I breathe all the time, but I don't think about it. I don't have to think about it. If I did have to think about it, I'd think of nothing else. I take about 24 breaths each minute when I'm resting. That's more than 1,400 breaths each hour. I'm thankful my lungs work so hard for me. So, today we learned about our lungs and how important they are to us. It's why it's important that we breathe in clean and healthy things. We're not around smoke, or it's not good for us to be around a fire too long, or the pollen. Sometimes the pollen now has been bothering me, and that gets into you when you breathe and into your lungs and maybe makes you cough. Kaylee Watts. So after this, I want you to go and read your lung book all by yourself. Think about it today. Thanks for all those trees out there that are giving us oxygen, and when you breathe out, you're giving them carbon dioxide. Bye, scientists.